What's up, everybody? I'm Eric. Let's talk about trucks specifically. Why buying a pickup truck here in the US can be way tougher for Americans than you might think. Now, you might be asking, Eric, why is this even a problem? Trucks are supposed to be practical, right? They're workhorses. And yeah, that's true, but the reality is a little more complicated. Between rising prices, long loan terms, and the sheer demand for trucks and SUVs among Americans, what seems like a $30,000 truck on paper can actually cost you way more in the real world. The three of the most talked about models on the market in the US right now are Ford Maverick, which starts at about $29,840 MSRP for a base model. That makes it one of the only trucks that still come in under $30K. Toyota Tacoma, which starts closer to $33,840 MSRP for the base trim, and climbs higher with popular options. Chevrolet Silverado, $1,500, a full-size workhorse, with a base price starting around $36,900 MSRP, and trims well over $45,000 for more equipped versions. So already, before you even walk into a US dealer, the advertised cost is not cheap, and that's before taxes, destination fees, dealer add-ons, and of course, markups. And here's the point. These numbers are the MSRP, that's the suggested price, not what Americans actually pay. So what's the reality? US dealer pricing? Well, you might be watching a truck online and see that $29,840 price on the Maverick and think, wow, affordable. But in reality, truck prices on American dealer lots often look a lot higher. That's because dealerships often add markups, sometimes called market adjustments, especially on popular trucks with tight supply. This means a truck that lists for $29,840 gets sold for $35,000, $38,000, or more if there's high demand. Dealers know Americans will pay it, and that influences pricing. One real example from truck buyer communities shows a 2025 Silverado LT pickup with an MSRP around $52,760, ended up advertised around $42,000 and sold for about $40,800. Out the door after negotiations, which may seem like a deal, but it's still significantly above the simplest base starting prices Americans imagine. And remember, pricing can vary a lot depending on trim level, options, and whether the truck has accessories or required add-ons. That's why what you see online and what Americans pay in person can be very different. Talking of the financing side, and this is where a lot of Americans get blindsided, imagine you find a Maverick at MSRP $29,840 and you finance it with a loan. You might look at the monthly payment and think, that's manageable. But here's the trick. Many US truck buyers are taking longer loans, sometimes up to 84 months. So, why do they do that? Because stretching out the loan lowers the monthly payment, which sounds affordable on paper. But here's the truth. You pay way more in total interest, and you're stuck with a payment for 7 years. In a market where average car loan payments for Americans are at decade highs around $545 month for new vehicles and $387 month for used, adding extra years makes the numbers look smaller. Month to month, but you pay more overall. That's not a savings, that's a trap. This is especially risky when interest rates are up, meaning more of your money goes toward interest instead of paying down the truck itself. And if you roll in dealer add-ons, warranties, and insurance, that monthly number can climb even faster. You might ask, Eric, why does a few $1,000s really matter? Here's the finance angle most Americans miss. Every dollar you spend on a truck is a dollar you're not investing, saving, or using to pay off higher interest debt. Let's use that Maverick example again. On paper, it's about $29,840. If you finance for 60 months at an average interest rate, you might pay roughly $580 a month. But if you stretch that to 84 months to get a lower payment, you might only feel like you're saving, but you end up paying thousands more in interest. And that's before depreciation because trucks, like all vehicles, lose value over time. You might owe more on your loan than the truck is worth for years. That's the hidden cost. That's why financing structure matters more than monthly payment alone. So if new trucks are expensive and loans are tricky, what's the alternative? Used trucks can actually be a financially smart move if you buy right. Many used trucks hold their value well and can still serve all your needs without the steep sticker shock of a new model. U.S. Dealerships often advertise used trucks with limited warranties and inspection guarantees. As long as you do your homework, get a pre-purchase inspection, and know what you can realistically afford, used can be a great hedge against depreciation and high new truck pricing. But remember, even used trucks can be priced above MSRP because of demand, especially for dependable models like the Tacoma or Silverado. Alright, so you might be asking, Eric, how do I actually make smart financial decisions here? Here are action steps US truck buyers can use. 1. Calculate the total cost, not just monthly payment. Look at total interest you'll pay over the life of the loan. 2. Stick to a budget before you walk into the dealership. If you only can afford $30,000 total price, follow that hard. Don't let dealer markups pull you higher. 3. Consider used or certified pre-owned. You can often get a better truck for your money, especially if you plan to keep it long-term. 4. Get a pre-purchase inspection for used trucks protects you from hidden mechanical issues. 5. Don't stretch loans longer than 60 months unless you absolutely have to. The trade-off in interest isn't worth it most of the time. If you follow these simple rules, you'll be miles ahead of most Americans who just focus on affordable monthly payments without doing the math. Trucks may seem like a good deal on paper. The Ford Maverick starts under about $30,000, the Toyota Tacoma starts around $33,840, and even a Chevy Silverado starts near $36,900 MSRP. But once you factor in dealer markups, long-term financing costs, interest, and the opportunity cost of tying up your money, that $30,000 truck quickly becomes a lot more expensive than Americans expect. Your wallet doesn't care about the MSRP, it cares about what you actually pay over time. Focus on total ownership cost, protect your budget, and don't let marketing gimmicks or low monthly payments convince you that you're saving money when you're really paying more. If you found this helpful, hit the like button, subscribe. Thanks for watching.